Okay, excellent. So welcome everyone. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Jude and I am the founder and CEO of Flamingo. So this is one of our latest webinars on summer resident engagement and event ideas. So as I go through this, ask any questions that come up. So for those of you that are not familiar with Flamingo, Flamingo is a resident engagement and revenue company. So how Flamingo got started was I spent about 4 months walking to all the apartments in Chicago. And the big thing I learned from a lot of property managers is that property managers absolutely love their job, but it's extremely frustrating with all the tools, systems, and everything you have to do day to day. So Flamingo founded the one app experience for your residents. So one app that your residents are able to use for everything from your resident guide to moving to surveys to booking concierge services. So for those of you that don't know, that's what Flamingo is all about. So now to the main part of our webinar. So right now we are in transition from a couple of things from winter to summer and spring in between. If you live in Chicago, there's actually no transition. And then also transitioning from COVID to what the world is going to look like post-COVID. So right now, a lot of properties are transitioning from doing mostly virtual events to a mix of virtual and in-person to purely in-person. So as you kind of think about that, there are a lot of things that you need to consider. So some of those are not all your residents are, one, going to be comfortable with in-person events. It's going to take a while. So you still want to do things much slower than I know some of you would want to do. And then other thing you might ask is, should we just completely switch from virtual events to in-person events, or should we still keep it a mix, or should we just completely drop virtual events? So again, there is that transition period. So I still recommend doing a mix of both in-person and virtual events, and then slowly transition more to in-person events. But from everything we've seen, virtual events are here to stay. So that's going to last a while. And the nice thing that a lot of properties have learned about virtual events is that it really allows you to reach a lot more of your residents. So people that might typically not attend in-person events might be more open to virtual events, especially if you consider the fact that with virtual events, you are really able to tap into event hosts all over the world. So if you are able to get a chef in Japan to do a sushi making class, even though it's virtual, that's going to get a lot more residents to attend than just doing an in-person event with a local chef that they have seen a million times. So if virtual events still have their place. But as you think about transitioning, there are some events that you can do that really ease that transition. The other thing to think about for virtual events or in-person events, and one of the things I'm going to really focus on is maximizing event ROI. So as you transition back to in-person events, there are a lot of things that you can do to really ensure that you get the best out of your events. So events are nice, but there's still like a purpose behind the events. It's not just a nice to have for residents. You are also doing events to actually hit ROI. So that's what ownership is looking for. That's what corporate is looking for. So going to touch on how to really maximize the ROI you get from events, whether it's from social media, whether it's generating PR, whether it's getting prospects to engage or getting reviews as well too. And then how do you really tap into that and make that part of your moving season? So right now, as we go into summer, a lot of leases are coming up for renewal, and then a lot of people are looking for places to move. So how do you combine that with events? And I'll also touch on how that is actually the best situation, because if you look at events from a leasing perspective, that allows you to partner with your marketing teams and actually get a much, much bigger event budget. So some events that we've seen to be really successful. One of the most successful events we've seen so far are food truck events. So food truck events were definitely the star of the last few months. As most people couldn't really do a lot of in-person events, food truck events became extremely popular. So that's not going away. what we really recommend is to look at food truck events from a few different angles. One is, how do you combine food truck events with what your marketing teams and what your leasing teams are trying to achieve? So we recommend really doing food truck festivals. So you can invite 1, 2, or multiple food trucks, but don't limit it just to your residents. So you want not just residents to attend, but also use that as an opportunity to invite prospects or the entire neighborhood. It works better because the food truck companies are going to be extremely happy because that gives them a lot more traffic. And then it almost guarantees that they are going to meet their minimums. And then for you all, it gives you a really great opportunity to increase foot traffic, get a lot more prospects to be aware of your property. And then it's also an opportunity to really get some of those like one-day tours. So as people get food, there's opportunities for them to quickly take a look at the building. So food truck events have been extremely successful. Just this week, we saw a couple of really successful Cinco de Mayo food truck events that had up to 200 people attend. So food truck events are really here to stay and a great way for you all to continue to drive engagement and then also bring more people to tour the building, take a look and see what you all are offering. And then the other way to really maximize the value from food truck events is to provide some type of alcohol or drinks that the prospects or your residents can enjoy. And then finally, we've seen that a lot of properties are still limiting their food truck events to like dinner time. So mix it up, do a lunchtime food truck event, do a breakfast food truck event. A lot of your residents are still going to be working from home. So it's a nice way to mix it up. And then finally, food trucks go beyond just food. You can bring in a dessert food truck, you can bring in cocktails or crafts or mobile beer. So there are a lot of different options for you to continue to offer food truck events and make it even more fun. So a question from Chantel, who pays for the food at these food truck events? So it's definitely a mix. We've seen everything where it's sometimes paid for by the property, sometimes paid for by the residents, or sometimes a mix. So there are some food truck companies that require you to put down a guarantee. So they might say, we need a guarantee that we will make at least $1,000 from stopping by the building. So you are able to put down some of those deposits. And if that isn't met, then they typically charge you for whatever is left over. But if you do a really good job marketing the event, you should get a lot of attendance from your residents, and that should cover the food truck minimums. And then if you mix it with inviting prospects, that almost guarantees that they are going to be extremely happy. So definitely encourage you all to not only do an event like this, but mix it up and then connect this with leasing by inviting prospects. And this is a theme I'm going to go over because really want you all to focus for this summer on connecting the event ROI, not just doing events for the community aspect of it, but also tying that into events and prospects. And then next event that we recommend for the summer are tie-dye parties. So everyone has been locked up for the last 14 months, and summertime is always like a fun time to come back out, especially given everything that's like happened. So this one is a pretty fun and also a very, very inexpensive event. So it's just colors and a lot of things. And what I really like about a tie-dye party is that it's very, very Instagrammable. So this is one of those events that should get you a lot of social media hits. And again, you also want to do this event in conjunction with your marketing and leasing teams. So invite prospects, do a lot to promote the event, and then tie that into your social media strategy. So for example, you all can provide like a tag or hashtag that residents can use or that prospects can use, and offer a prize, whoever gets the most likes or some type of raffle to really get people to using that hashtag during the day. And the other thing you can do here is to add your branding. So you can actually provide your own t-shirts or whatever is going to use for the tie-dye. So that residents have that and it's a fun takeaway. And then you have a bunch of prospects or a lot of residents walking around with your logo. So another fun thing you can do to really take this event to the next level. And then other fun event we've seen, and one I definitely recommend for the summer, are the outdoor movie events. So this one we also saw very popular last summer, just because, again, a lot of residents were looking for excuses or looking for things to do outside. So another fun event because it's still very social distancing safe, even though most people are now getting vaccinated. But it's one of those events that kind of brings everyone together. And it's very, very child friendly. So you can do a variety of movies. And then what I also recommend for this is to make this a monthly series. So summer for most places like the Midwest or the East Coast is very short. So that's typically 3 to 4 months. So you're able to make this monthly event. And with making it monthly, that's something that residents can always look forward to. And again, this is another event where you can actually invite your prospects. So if you have a large outdoor space, I cannot recommend this event enough. And the other fun part of this event is you can add snacks, you can add a cotton candy machine. So do a lot to get that engagement. And then finally, for this event, you can actually get residents to pick what movies they want to see. So it gets them really involved in the event process. So another fun event that you can do that doesn't take a lot of time, especially if you make it into a monthly event. And then another event we saw that was really successful the last few months, and we think is going to be really successful for a lot of properties, is Friday night happy hours. So there are a couple of ways you can do this. You can either have this as an in-person event, or you could have it as where you deliver the drinks to residents. So we've seen a couple of our clients execute this like really, really successfully. What's fun about this is that alcohol is always fun for events. So this is really a quick and easy event you can do. Either you can do this through a sponsorship with one of your local partners, or you can actually just go to a local beverage store and make the drinks yourself. So one of our clients, 4th Street East, they actually did this for a few weeks, and they had about 150 on average residents like participate. And what was nice for this event was that it only cost them about $500 to $600 for each one. So a really, really inexpensive event, but one that was able to get a lot of residents. So again, they had about 150 people participate each time. So definitely recommend this one. And then another fun one that we've seen with some of our other clients is First Fridays. So as you can probably see, there's a theme here. A lot of the events where you have it on a monthly basis usually work out really well. So for the First Fridays event, you can partner with a local bar or a local restaurant and then have them come on site to either do a cocktail making class, to provide drinks, or to provide food. So with an event like this, you could do it a couple of ways. It could be completely paid for by the building, or it could be paid for by the bar as a sponsor. Obviously, if the bar is providing this as a sponsorship, then you all need to provide something in return, whether it's including discounts to the bar in your resident guide, or really having them be a visible part of your building. So always like work with your partners to figure out like what is the best way. But again, this is an event we've seen to be extremely successful. For our clients that have done this, the average attendance for those events, again, has been over 100 people. So cannot recommend this one enough. But really the key part here is it has to be consistent. So it's not a one-time event. You have to make it a consistent event for at least 6 months or so. So an example is from Atlas. So they did an event like this, and I think for each one that they did, they had over 120 people participate. And what was nice was that they were doing this as an opportunity to really support like local businesses. So a lot of local businesses struggled a lot the last few months. So for Atlas, this was an opportunity for them to really give back and then help those like local businesses that might be struggling. So again, I really recommend this. And then another one that we've seen to be extremely popular has been like candle making events. So we did this a lot during the lockdown, where it was done virtually, where we had the kits shipped to the residents. But now that things are back open, this is a really fun event to do in person. And what I really like about an event like this is because it gives residents something to take away. So it's not just an event they do, but they do the event and then have a fun takeaway to remind them about what they got out of the event. And for an event like this, you can always combine it again with different social media marketing strategies. So I recommend this one a lot. And then other event, especially for locations where summer is a very hyped opportunity, definitely recommend you take advantage of your pool or your rooftop. So really offer fitness classes and allow residents to really participate. And then this is another opportunity to invite prospects. So just let your prospects know we have a weekly outdoor rooftop class. Come stop by, get to meet the potential neighbors. So a really fun event to get people back in summer shape, and then also take advantage of the fun amenities that you have. And then combining the outdoor fitness classes, you can do a brunch and yoga and brunch event. So for an event like this, you have a DJ, you have food. It could be as simple as a continental breakfast, or you could actually have a full brunch with mimosas. And what makes this event really fun is that it kind of gets people that might not typically, for example, attend fitness classes to come out. So you get a lot of different parts of your community because it has a bunch of different elements that everyone likes. It has food, it has music, and then it has exercise. And the other reason I like this event so much is because every time we've seen an event like this, it always gets a lot of social media buzz. So it's a fun event that gets residents to take pictures, show off what they are doing, and then it's a really fun way for them to start their day. So like for this event, like other ones, always try to combine it with some type of social media. So that gets you not only the immediate ROI from residents attending the events, but it also gets prospects to see what it is that you guys are doing at your community. So I really recommend this one. And it's a fun one to do on a consistent basis over the summer. So recommend having this at least like once a month or at least a couple of times during the summer. And then another fun event that has started picking up more traffic. So I typically recommend the sip and paint events. Those are always fun. But I think it's time to kind of mix it up with different ways of getting residents to really explore art. So a fun one is caricatures. So everyone would love, this is an event that everyone would love to like be able to do. So gives residents the opportunity to learn a new skill, and then also gives them a really fun takeaway because again, they get to draw themselves or one of their partners or even their pet. So definitely recommend an event like this. And what's also nice about an event like this is that it's extremely inexpensive. You can spend anywhere from $75 to more, but it's really cheap. And then it gets residents to really explore a different part of their creativity. And this is another event where you can invite prospects, and there really isn't a limit to the number of people that can attend. And then the materials themselves are very, very inexpensive. You could either have the artists actually provide the materials, or you could have residents bring their own materials. So this event, really inexpensive, but a really fun and creative one. And the other nice part about an event like this is you can really combine it again with your social media marketing strategy. So you could either have residents like post on social media and tag the building, or you could do some type of contest. So another fun event where you are able to really reach a different group of residents and then also combine it with your social media strategy. And then if you have the budget for it, definitely recommend doing a summer fling event, whether it's later in the summer or maybe even for the fall. But what's nice about this event is it's a different approach than the usual pool parties. So almost all your comms are going to do a pool party. So what I recommend is kind of do something a little bit different. So either it's like a really fun, fancy get together, or combine it with a casino event, something that's a little bit different than the usual pool party. And what's nice for an event like this is, again, you can invite prospects, and then you can also really lean in on your partners. So whether it's local restaurants, local bars, to provide a lot of the food and drinks that are needed for the event. And what's also nice about this is that it gives your residents an opportunity to dress up. A lot of people haven't had that opportunity for a long time. I've been wearing pajamas for a while. So it really gives residents that opportunity to dress up and then get to see their neighbors in a different light. And the other part of this event is that it really works well, again, with your social media strategy. So residents are going to take a lot of pictures. And this gives you the opportunity to create more buzz for your prospects. And then, so question from Dom, have your clients run into casino licensing? So that's not an issue for this type of event unless you decided to actually have real money being used in the dealings. For just like a regular casino night, you just have regular dealers and they are not using like real money. They're using like fake money. So you shouldn't run into any like types of issues. So there are a lot of different companies that can bring all the materials that you need. So the casino tables, the dealers, the chips, and everything else. So with this event, you can do a lot. You can provide residents with set fake money. You can also provide prizes, and you can do a lot with this type of event. And again, what I like about it is that it allows you to really tie this in well with your social media strategy. And this is an event that can be done very cheaply, or it can also be expensive. Really depends on if you are what your budget is, and then what you're looking to achieve. And the last part for this event is, again, it's a fun event where you can invite prospects. So if you have someone that's toured the building, you can invite them to say, as you're making your decision, come by our Summer Fling event, get to meet some of your potential prospective neighbors. And then question from Autumn. So does Flamingo offer this, or is this something we would have to organize? So Flamingo does have an event marketplace. So you are able to get all of these events from Flamingo's event marketplace. So you can book these events through Flamingo, or you could do them in-house as well too. And then next event is a leasing day event and mini festival. So a lot of the events I've touched on are really fun events you can do by themselves, or you can combine the events into a fun mini festival. So in Chicago, I live in Chicago, so there are a lot of summer festivals. After you've been to a few, they all kind of blend in together. But what's really fun about festivals are all the things you're able to get: food, music, and then some fun activities. So what I recommend is to really look at what your leasing looks like for the summer. So it's getting more and more competitive, but it's always still like busy season. So one thing to really do is create a leasing day event. So if you know of Amazon has what they call like a hiring day. When Amazon is looking to hire really quickly, typically right before the holiday season, they do what they call a hiring day. So they open up a large studio or large warehouse, and then they just have like job applicants that come through. They do instant interviews. They do a lot of different things, and they hire their holiday staff there and there, all the seasonal workers. So one thing you can do is do a leasing day event or mini festival. So do a fun events, whether it's like a food trucks, tie-dye, music, and a lot of things. And then invite a lot of your prospects. So anyone you have in your CRM that has shown any interest, you can invite them to stop by the festival. And then if they are interested, you can take them on a quick tour. You can actually do multiple tours at the same time. So you can have 5 people on the same tour. That allows your leasing team to be really efficient, creates a fun event for current residents, and then allows like prospects to really get to know not only the building, but also get to see their potential neighbors. So it's a really fun and quick way. And the second part to this type of event is that it really allows you to get some PR. So you can reach out to local newspapers to get them to talk about your leasing day. So that could be reaching out to the media, reaching out to colleges, or just anywhere. And that allows you to really get a lot of foot traffic and a lot of PR and buzz around your leasing. And then a lot of you are going to, or have already started doing like the 2-3 month or whatever discounts on rent. So this is a day where you can offer all of that and say, do a tour, sign a lease, and then you get a month off, 2 months off, or whatever lease special you are currently doing. So a really fun event to not only offer something for current residents, but also get a lot of foot traffic and prospects to stop by the building. And then really like last part for all of this is our typical like event best practices. So we recommend for events, really spend more time marketing the event than really thinking about the event itself. So the example I always give is that Coke has been around for over 100 years, but the company still spends billions of dollars every year on marketing. So a big mistake a lot of property managers make is that they don't spend enough time actually marketing the events that you do, which is why you sometimes have really low attended events or not a lot of engagement. It's not because residents don't want to attend the event, it's because they just like don't know about it. Just sending like an email typically doesn't do it. So definitely recommend spending more time on marketing than actually the logistics of the event itself. And then the second part is always tie your events into social media. So give residents incentives to tag you all on social media or make it really, really simple for them to submit event pictures. So all of those things really show off what you are actually doing in the building. One thing that I see a lot on for building Instagrams is they have a lot of really beautiful pictures of like empty apartment spaces. So that it all kind of blends into all your comms. So what I recommend is really lean in on your events. So show off what's happening in the building. Incentivize residents to send those pictures, and then your social media pages look a lot more dynamic. And then third part is make it easy for residents to RSVP for events. So don't require them to send you an email, have a resident app that makes it super easy for them to just write there and there RSVP. And then take those event pictures, use them on social media. If you have digital screens in your building, add those to those digital screens. So that helps create a sense of FOMO. So if you have lobby screens, you can show residents like, oh, these are all the fun events we've done the last year. So that gets even more residents excited and interested to attend your events. And then the same thing, I've kind of touched on this a bunch of times, but really think about doing events where you can invite prospects. So it kind of adds a completely different element to your events and then to your leasing. And then the best part about really leaning into having prospects attend your events is that it's going to allow you to have a much, much bigger event budget. So your marketing teams are probably spending a lot of money on Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and other types of advertisements. So if you can take some of that budget to add to events and then invite those prospects, that's going to allow you to do even more events or even bigger events. And then secondly, you can then tie that into PR. So get the local newspaper to write about you, get this company to talk about you. So it really allows you to create that loop for events where it both benefits your residents, benefits prospects, and then ties into your overall like resident acquisition strategy. So a couple of questions. Derek said, would you email this presentation? Yep, so we'll email the presentation to everyone that attended. And then is there a way we can RSVP? So from Autumn, is there a way we can RSVP for all the residents who can work for the app? So for the resident app, yep, so you are able to RSVP if your residents are not able to use it. So you can use that on their behalf. So that covers that presentation. So any questions from you all? If you have other questions, definitely feel free to add them to the chat. So other webinars we have upcoming. So on 5/25, we have a webinar on how to reduce calls and emails you get from residents with a digital resident guide. So this is really something that I don't think a lot of properties think about. So we work with hundreds of property managers. And one thing we've seen is that a lot of properties still use paper or they print out a resident guide. So that typically leads to residents just like tossing it out. So what we recommend is just completely digitize your resident guide. That makes it really, really simple for residents to find information. And that ultimately cuts down on the number of calls, emails that you get from your residents. So that one is on 5/25. So definitely recommend signing up for that. And then on that webinar, we also have a bunch of templates that you can get. So templates for whether it's like a welcome home guide or templates for maintenance emergencies, all those different things that you typically have on your resident guide. We have different templates you can use from a variety of best practices. And then next webinar on 6/4 is how to really onboard residents. So a big mistake we see for properties is that there really isn't an efficient way we've seen where properties like onboard your residents. So what we recommend is make the resident onboarding not only a really important part of your moving process, but to also make it scalable and easier for your residents by providing the information in little chunks, whether it's through video or through other things. So on this webinar, we'll talk about how to really onboard residents and get them really excited about the building. Oh, and then other question from Autumn is about the RSVPs. So no, I meant in the office for RSVPs for residents. So no, Autumn, unfortunately, you are not able to RSVP on behalf of residents, but you can invite them to the event, which will add them to, if you're using the app, which will add them to the app. So you are able to do that. Okay, great. So thank you all for joining. So our webinars are quick. So that's really the end of it. So if you have questions, definitely feel free to shoot me an email. And then for everyone that attended, we are also going to email out the presentation that we went over. And then you can always check our website for more like event ideas and suggestions. So thank you all for attending. I hope you all have a great rest of the day. Bye, guys.